talk to them and tell them to either call me or just put them on the lines.
No.
Hey, kid.
Hey, can you see if the signal is coming in?
Okay. We also have a drinking fountain.
Well, whenever I called him, it just said that his line was busy, so.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Hi, can you see the signal?
Hi, Sandy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I know we're just
Are you with,
Oh,
thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're there.
All right. Cool. All right. Yeah, for sure. Just want to make sure. Cheers.
So it's just all hanging there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tuck this right.
Is this? Bad boy started. Hello.
Nice memory.
Half podium will travel.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that.
This will help with the microphones
You
and
bet.
stuff.
That's awesome. Right? Yeah, that'd be perfect. Thank you, TJ. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. Like, just say that in your, that'll be great.
There it is.
See it? Okay, good deal.
Actually can save the day here. So there's a whole list of files here, TJ, which the
I think if you click on those ones that have
the MP4s.
Those are videos and then just recommended. And then the at the bottom is some of the still photos.
Could you use a quick shot of that real quick?
Yeah, I can share those files with you too, Peter.
Oh, that's great.
So-
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It worked?
Yeah. You're the man.
It took a collaborative effort, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Nice podium.
All right, I'll go ahead and get started. I was elected to go first today. So anyway, let me first just thank everybody for being here on such short notice for this press release. You know, Missoula County is already experiencing early flooding in the season, and the forecast is that the water level is going to rise significantly by midweek. So we felt it was important and necessary to get some information out to the public to make them aware of the potential changes in the level of waters and some of the hazards that exist. So we have some amazing people that are here with us today in the room that'll be able to give you a briefing on what the flooding is currently doing, what we expect it to do in the coming weeks, and what evacuation protocol, if any, that we may get into here at some point. So I'll start off with Leanne, a meteorologist with National Weather Service, who will help us understand the forecast, and then after that we'll move into folks with emergency management as well as fire. So Leanne.
Thank you.
Do we have our website available by chance behind us?
Sure.
Somewhere. Or are you running this? Excellent. It might help to, just for reference. I have some footnotes here, but everything is panning out exactly like how we kind of expected it to. This week is going to be interesting because we're going to reach levels this week that we haven't seen in some 40 years. I think 2011 is most recently in our mind. It would reach the Clark Fork above Missoula, reached 12.72, and we will get to that at the very least, if not much higher than that. So we are going to experience, we're preparing in our office to experience flooding in places that we're not even sure we know will flood yet, because the channel of the river itself has changed so much since 2011, let alone 1975, when was the last time we saw it reach 13 feet, so which is considered major flood stage. So this is our most up-to-date hydrograph, coordinated between ourselves at the office here in Missoula and the River Forecast Center in Portland. And before I got here today, I just double-checked with them to make sure that everything was no, last-minute changes or anything. But we are basically peaking out later this week, 12.87. That number will go and waver, within a tenth or 2/10 of a foot. So don't get too hung up on the number itself. It's basically the major rise between now, when we hit moderate stage, into major stage in at least the next 24 to 48 hours, and that part is the significant part. Normally these things are a slow mover, snow melt and that sort of thing, so once we get there, then we stay there for a while, which is another concern of ours, is once we reach this impactful level, then how long are we there, and how exacerbated are things going to get? So I would like to say that this forecast, we are expecting thunderstorms tonight after 6 p.m., according to my forecast, and with it is plenty of rain. That is already factored into this, so if we get any rain in the next 24 hours, that's already factored into this forecast, so it shouldn't change too much. Luckily, the forecast doesn't have much more rain in it between now and the weekend, so next weekend. There is a chance for showers on Wednesday, but that should be rather insignificant. For northwest Montana it will be, but for us down here it won't be. So we're looking at rising to over 2011 flood, I would say the peak flow is 12.72 from 2011. We will surpass that by Tuesday, or at least Monday evening, and then reach our, close to 13 feet status by midweek. We initially thought it would happen by Friday, but that's why we put in the footnote that when we did the briefing, the recorded briefing yesterday, it might happen a day or two early, just in case, and it does look like it's going that way. And this is just for the point above Missoula. Does anyone have any questions on that particular stretch? Okay. If you think of any, let me know. The next one is obviously the Clark Fork below Missoula. It is also scheduled to go just below moderate flood stage, which is 12 feet, and that will be around the same time frame. That will be the peak flow in 2011 was 11.33, and we're expecting at least a half a foot above that. So if you know of any impacts that happened in 2011, expect a half a foot or more above that, and the channel itself will change as well. So there will be things popping up that we're not foreseeing just yet. The Bitterroot itself, we just issued flood watches for the Bitterroot today. and we do expect those will reach minor flood stage in the next 24 to 48 hours, if not slightly after that, depending on how things come off in the next day or two. That will remain at flood stage and experience gradual increases after that for probably through the weekend, if not further out. I mean, we're talking like once, bless you, once we get there, we're staying there, because we're only now seeing the tip of what is coming off these mountains. So it's not a good scenario, but it's the beginning of it, and we're trying to get out ahead of it as far as we can. We'll be out and looking at things and assessing it and trying to learn, you know, what kind of stuff we'll see from this type of flooding. I guess the main thing I can speak on between the Clark Fork and the Bitterroot is, in case it does come down heavier and stays with storm, can stay over an area. That doesn't look like the case tonight. They should move in and out and be done through the evening. We do get some wraparound precipitation, which is a bit of a concern. That is not factored into this forecast, just the thunderstorm precipitation, but it shouldn't cause this to go crazy. I mean, this is a slow, come off the mountains type of deal. This isn't a flash flood scenario in any case. So that being said, the Blackfoot is a concern. I saw pictures from someone in the media, forget who it was, but I saw it on Twitter, of Johns Road looked flooded and that whole thing. That should just keep going, and fishing accesses will be exacerbated. Some homes that are really close, they should all know, you know, if you live next to the water, that type of deal. But we're just going to watch, because the channels have changed so much, and we're just looking at a massive amount of snow that has to come off yet. I was checking the snowmelt graphs from NRCS, and they are around the 5,000 to 6,000 foot range, has not even begun to melt off yet, so depending on where you're looking. So we've got all kinds of snow to come down in the headwaters of the Blackfoot and the Clark Fork. So I think this is just the beginning. I know no one wants to hear that, but I do believe we're going to be here for a while. We'll see periodic dips below, you know, moderate flood stage, if we're lucky, down below minor flood stage, but we're going to be in this red area for quite some time. I touched it, it did something. But don't get too hung up on the 13 foot. I think, you know, within a tenth or 2/10 of a foot, I mean, it's going to be major. I mean, that's the adjective for it. So any questions with that? That's the short of it. So I'm here for any questions regarding forecasts or impacts.
Leanne, how
Yeah.
about long-term, through the summer?
Yeah. So this is a good sign that it's coming off now. The first round that we had already experienced was rainfall on top of snowmelt. If we were to get another scenario of a prolonged 1 to 2 to 3 day type of rainfall event, we'll see beyond this. I spoke to the River Forecast Center, and they said a worst case scenario would be 13.5 feet if we get, you know, over what we're forecasting by 150%. I know that is neither here nor there, but if we were, that just basically means if we were to see a ½ inch to an inch of rainfall fall in a somewhat, you know, good amount of time where it can feed and keep feeding into the river, we will see it worse than this. I feel pretty confident telling you that. That, of course, you can't predict more than 5 to 7 days out confidently, so it's on our minds. We are forecast for the next 8 to 14 days to see continued patterns such as this, warmer than normal, or at seasonal normals or slightly above, is the technical term. But these warm nights with cloud cover, that keeps it mild in the higher terrain, that keeps it coming. You know, at night, if it cools down, it kind of slows back a little, and you'll see, you know, if that were the case, it would come down just like this, go up and come down like that. You'll see more of a roller coaster type deal, a diurnal type of effect, but we're not seeing that. So the longer we stay mild overnight, we have cloud cover, and we stay warm, the snow levels stay elevated, the longer we'll see this graph look like that. We're not expecting anything crazy, at least at this point, but that's all we look at, that and, you know, the different impacts to public if there's snow on the mountain pass and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, this is number one. So
with that, do we want to move on to Kim?
Thanks, Leanne. I want to thank all the members of the press that are here today. We rely on you guys to help provide information to the public, so it's much appreciated for you guys to interrupt your schedules and come down here for this Media Blitz. First off, I'd like to let everybody know that there will be a public meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Hawthorne Elementary School Gymnasium at 2835 South 3rd West. We encourage folks in the area with questions and concerns to attend the meeting. We'll try to provide as much